internal auditor.
Okay, next.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Committee. Engineer Murwanda Emmanuel is my name. I'm the Water and Sanitation Engineer standing in for Director Engineering Services. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Committee. Chitambara Amy is my name, Assistant Procurement Officer.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members of this committee. My name is Nathan Katipsha, Director Planning.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brighton Jamu, Town Planner.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, committee members. Jessica Mchocho Banda, Director Finance.
Thank you so very much. Our permanent witnesses.
Thank you very much, Chair, and a good morning to you and the Honorable Committee. Good morning, CHILUBI Town Council. My name is Charles Bukolo from the Office of the Auditor General.
Good morning, Chair and honorable members of the committee. My name is Oscar Nyarenda from the Office of the Accountant General, Ministry of Finance and National Planning.
Chairperson and the honorable members of your committee, good morning. CHILUBI Town Council, you're welcome to this session. I'm Kazinga Kennedy from Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. I submit, Chair.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members of the committee, as well as CHILUBI Town Council. My name is Geoffrey Study. I'm Director, Northern Province Office of the Auditor General.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, everyone. My name is Fabian Calva. I'm a Senior Auditor from Office of the Auditor General.
Secretariat.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. My name is Mochindo Monsanje from the Office of the Clerk.
Emmanuel Walia from the Office of the Clerk. Thank you, Chair.
Morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members of the committee. My name is Ronald Semani from the Office of the Clerk.
Honorable members attending this meeting virtually, is your time to introduce yourselves.
Thank you, Chair. TC and your team, good morning and welcome. Kawaso Kampampi, Member of Parliament from Mansarombo constituency. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, the entire committee, and good morning, CHILUBI, George Kasabila Kandapura, Member of Parliament for Serenje, and good morning, Mr. Rafael P.
You have greeted the outgoing, it's okay. Honorable members present here, starting on my far right.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, our witnesses. I'm Honorable Chalapo, MP for Chipiri constituency in Chipiri District, Luapula Province. You are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, our witness, Henry Skazwe from Senga Hill constituency.
Thank you, Chair, and welcome CHILUBI Town Council. My name is Newton Samakai, Member of Parliament for Mwinilunga constituency in the Northwestern Province, and a member of this committee.
Thank you, Honorable. I am Anton Kasandwe, Member of Parliament for Bangor constituency, Vice Chair for the committee, and I'm chairing this meeting today. Now, CS, before I insulate you with proof of the laws of Zambia, I just make this committee appreciate the configuration of your committee. You are saying you are acting CS, and you also have the outgoing CS. Just help us understand. Is the outgoing already retired or transferred? You may help us, sir.
Thank you, Chair. The outgoing is on transfer to Kasama as Director Housing and Social Services, so he's still active in employment. He's still active.
No, at your station. He said he's outgoing, so he's going to Kasama.
He already left, Chair.
Oh, he already left,
sure.
Or you invited him for the purposes of our engagement?
Exactly.
Okay, well and good.
Sure.
So at this point, I would like to confer on you, Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, the immunity that honorable members of parliament enjoy in their tour of duty within the precinct of parliament, and this is extended to you so that we create a level playing field and to enable you submit to this committee what is factual, and whatever you submit cannot be used against you in the courts of law. But otherwise, if you decide to mislead the committee, that information may be used against you. So proceed as follows. You read the audit query, and then followed by management response, the action taken, and what you propose going forward, the remedial measures. And then we have a number of tables in your report, which in our opinion as a committee, these tables are self-explanatory. There is no need to go through the table one by one. But if you strongly feel that you need to refer to the table to strike your point, you may refer to the table. Otherwise, these tables are self-explanatory. So you may proceed, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Failure to implement planned activities, management response, council motel completion, 990,000 not implemented, action taken. Management wishes to state that the local authority has since leased out the council motel. Kindly see Appendix 1. Query 2, rehabilitation of feeder roads. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the local authority hired earth-moving equipment and 138.5 kilometers of roads have since been rehabilitated. See Appendix 1. Remedial measures. Management will ensure that projects are implemented on time. B, delayed completion of a storage house at Kawena village. Management response. Cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the project had not been completed due to restructuring of equalization funds. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the local authority has since sourced funds to enable the completion of the project. The project will be completed by 28th February. That was then. See Appendix 2, Appendix 1. Remedial measures. Management will ensure that projects are completed on time. Cross-cutting issues. Appendix 1. Audit opinion. Management response. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the financial statements were verified and the favorable opinion given as shown below. Kindly refer to the table that has been provided. Management response, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the unspent funds represent amounts held on account for government programs and activities as shown in the table below. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the local authority has since spent the funds as shown in the table below. See Appendix 2. Remedy measures. Management will ensure that the funds are utilized according to committed government programs and activities. Appendix 3, which is on page 5, adverse performance on locally generated revenue. Management response, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the local authority had anticipated that it will hire out the earth-moving equipment and issue out plots, but the demand was low. Action taken. Management has since reduced the revenue budget in the following years, as shown in the table below. Remedy measure. Management will ensure that realistic revenue budgets are budgeted. Appendix 4, other deliverable targets, outputs not achieved. Kindly go to page 9, management response. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the cause of query, action taken, and remedy measures are presented in the table below. We can move to page 15, where we have our management response. Page 15, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that 12 plots were offered to applicants. However, only 5 applicants made payments towards the plot premiums. Action taken, 7 offer letters were revoked, and the plots have since been made available for offer to members of the public. Kindly refer to Appendix 5, remedy measures. Management will ensure that plot premiums are paid on time. Appendix 9, failure to use 5% of locally generated funds on wards. Management response, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that failure to use 5% of locally generated funds on wards was due to failure by ward development committees to open bank accounts. Action taken, management has since opened a ward development account and funds have since been deposited. Remedy measures, management will ensure that funds are utilized towards committed WDC activities. Appendix 18, failure to fill vacant positions. Management response, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the local authority had low revenue base and could not fill in all vacant positions. Action taken, management wishes to state that the local authority requested for key officers from the Local Government Service Commission. I wish to report that the local authority has since received 10 officers. Remedy measures, management will ensure that staff returns are submitted quarterly. Failure to provide white books for movable assets. Management response, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the white books were not available for audit on time. Action taken, management wishes to state that the white books have been secured and are available for verification. Kindly refer to Appendix 6. Remedy measures. Management will ensure that white books are availed for audit on time. Appendix 30, properties without title deeds. Management response, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the properties were not showing in the Ministry of Lands system. Action taken, management wishes to state that the Department of Physical Planning in Kasama has since been engaged to replan CHILUBI Island, and an estimated cost of 156,934 kwacha 94 ngwe has been put aside for the same project. See Appendix 7. Remedy measure. Management will ensure that the title deeds are secured on time. Appendix 32, non-maintenance of properties. Management response, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that The failure to maintain properties belonging to the local authority was due to inadequate funds. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the local authority included maintenance of properties in the 2026 annual budget. Remedy measures. Management to ensure that properties belonging to the local authority are maintained on time. Appendix 41. Non-settlement of statutory and other obligations. Management response. Cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that the non-settlement of statutory and other obligations were due to low revenue base as analyzed in the table below. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the local authority has since applied for special grant to dismantle the area. Remedy measure. Management will ensure that liquidation of at least 5% of outstanding obligations is included in the local annual budget. Appendix 42, non-settlement of staff obligations, management response, cause of query. The Auditor General's observations are acknowledged and wish to state that non-settlement of staff obligations was due to low revenue base. Action taken. Management wishes to state that an amount of 137,785 kwacha, 63 ngwe has since been paid. Remedy measures. Management will ensure that the outstanding staff obligations are paid on time. Management response, cause of query. Management wishes to acknowledge the Auditor General's findings and state that the outstanding balance was not spent within the financial year as indicated in the table below. Action taken. An amount of 922,392 has since been paid as shown in the table below. Remedy measures. Management will ensure that funds are spent according to committed government programs and activities. Appendix 53, unspent funds, Zambia Devolution Support Program. Management response, cause of query. Management acknowledges the Auditor General's findings and wishes to state that the local authority was awaiting clearance from ZEMA to implement the projects. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the local authority has spent the funds and the implemented projects. See Appendix 1. Remedy measures. Management will ensure that projects are completed on time. Chair, I submit my case.
Thank you so very much, honorable members. Point of clarifications. Honorable Chala.
Thank you, Chair. Council Secretary, I just want to know on the delayed completion of a storage house at Kawena. Because in your submission, you stated that the project will be completed by 28th February 2026. What is the status? Then, Chair, I also want to find out on Appendix 9, failure to use 5% of locally generated funds onwards, 40,188. I want to find out from you. In your submission, you have stated that the failure to use 5% locally generated funds onwards was due to failure. You mark that word. Failure by WDCs to open bank accounts. You went on further to say management has since opened the WDC account and funds has been deposited. Are you telling the truth to this committee that is the failure of WDCs to open an account, but now you have taken the responsibility to go and open the account. Can you clarify what you meant by failure by WDCs? But now you have taken over and you have opened the account. So
any other questions, honorable members? You may deal with those two questions, CS.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Chara, Mike.
I'll take up the first one, the one to do with the completion of Kawena. Then I'll refer the one that is talking about the usage of 5% to Mr. Perry. So regarding Kawena, according to the contract that was earlier signed, we were supposed to complete by end of February. Unfortunately, Chair, the contractor was unable to complete by that time. And as we speak, he is on the ground. And we're hoping in the next 2 weeks from now, the works should be completed. So that is the status of Kawena storage. I submit, Chair.
Yeah, at the beginning of this meeting, you could have amended your submission, sir. Because I know you submitted this report to Parliament maybe some time back. But when you are coming, you knew that the Kawena business has not been resolved. So at the start of this meeting, you had an opportunity to amend your submission, because this is March. And you also, even when you are reading your response, you read February 2026. And February has passed. That's why the honorable members raised that issue. So we need to amend that answer, sir, because February has already passed, and according to what you have informed this committee, the works are ongoing. Your comment, sir, before you go to the next question.
Comment, Chair, will just be to go by your guidance. We need to amend our response. I submit, Chair.
All right. Then you may bounce the other question to the officer you want to help you answer.
I'll ask Mr. Piri to respond to that.
Mr. Piri.
Thank you, Chair. The issue of the 5% locally generated funds by WDCs, the council took over the responsibility because after seeing that the WDCs had delayed, we thought of taking over because these projects are time-framed, Chair. And for further clarification, may I call the DF to just shed some more light? Madam Chair.
Before the DF comes in, the question from the member was very precise. The audit is failure to utilize 5%. But then your response is talking about failure by WDC to open an account. The auditor is not referring to existence or non-existence of an account by WDC. The question is failure to utilize 5% of the total revenue you collected in that particular year for purposes of development in the world. So, CS, what is your response? You are telling us about non-existence of the account. Now the account exists. But the query is failure on your part. Tell us why you failed to utilize 5% of the total revenue in that year. Because that is by law. I'm sure you know that 5% of the total revenue you collect in a particular financial year is not your money. It's supposed to go to the wards, so that when wards sit in their meetings, they decide whatever they want to use that money for. So now, why did you not remit the 5% of locally generated funds to wards? That is the query.
Thank you, Chair. I'll ask Director of Finance to respond.
Director of Finance, the boy is moved from the outgoing to you.
Thank you, Chair. Initially, we had advised WDC to open bank accounts so that we could transfer the 5% to their accounts for them to
open an account with which money? Madam,
Sorry?
you directed the WDCs to open accounts. With which money? What is the source? From their pockets? Anyway, continue.
All right. WDCs, they're supposed to be part of the signatories to the accounts. So they're supposed to be account holders so that the council should transfer the funds into the account for them to utilize.
Honorable Chala, I know you have a follow-up question. Honorable Samakai, I will start with Honorable Chala. Mike, Madam.
Thank you, Chair. Madam, how did you, is it that you assisted them now in order for you to go and open an account? Or it was your responsibility to ensure that this account have been opened? Is it your responsibility to ensure that the money that you used to, the money they generated locally, the funds, are transferred to this account? Is it your responsibility? That's what I want to find out. Or you just allowed it to be the way it is, that no, it's okay, as long as they don't open, will not remit the money. Thank you, Chair.
DF, whose responsibility it is to open the account for WDC for onward transmission of locally generated to the tune of 5%? Whose responsibility is the account?
The council.
Honorable Chala.
But why are you referring to WDC as their failure? Okay, it's understood. But next time, please, you have to accept the responsibility. Okay?
Honorable Skazwe.
Yeah, just a follow-up. So the account has been opened, and how much have you deposited?
DF through the CS, how much is in the account now? DF?
40.
40 what? You have no 40 what?
Okay.
Cobs of maize?
No.
Okay, so since we don't know whether it's 40,000, it's 40 tomatoes, provide evidence. The Honorable now is been triggered to ask for evidence that there is 40,000. Any evidence to support your submission?
Unfortunately, we didn't attach the state financial statement. Oh, sorry, the bank statement.
Okay. All right, just like Honorable Chala said, it is a responsibility of the council to ensure that 5% of locally generated funds, it is used for development in wards, whether with or without the account. The principle here is that 5% should be channeled toward development activities. Honorable Samakai.
Thank you, Chair. I think my question has been taken by friends.
All right, so any other questions? Maybe we can, okay, Honorable Samakai. Yes, we have moved, yes, to another question. Mike, Honorable.
Appendix 41, non-settlement of statutory and other obligations. You are telling this committee that you now be paying on time, and we are wondering, or rather I'm wondering where the money is going to come from, because you haven't stated whether you have taken measures to boost your revenues in order to ensure that these obligations are met on time. So where is the money going to come from, which you are telling us that you'll be able to pay on time?
Yeah, for both 41 and 42. And then further, is there any payment plan? The source of the money and payment plan. You may respond to that question, CS.
Thank you, Chair. For NAPSA, we can safely say we'll manage to pay these statutory obligations because currently the monies are being deducted at source. Then regarding the plan, Chair, I would like to be very sincere and indicate that we haven't yet done this plan, but and also assure this House that as we go, that is what we need to work on to ensure that we put in place a plan that will help us to ensure that we submit these funds at the right time. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Samakai.
Thank you, Chair. On Appendix 42, you have said you've taken action that 137,785.63 has since been paid. There is no evidence to show that this amount of money has been paid. So how do you convince us that this money has indeed been paid?
CS, and then in addition to what Honorable has asked, in responding to your the area question, you said for NAPSA, money is now deducted from the source. But our concern is not the future payment. It's the clearance of the arrears. Okay, so go back to the first question Honorable asked, where would the money come from to clear the arrears? Okay, for the current, the committee understands that money is deducted from the source. But now the concern of the committee is where are you going to get the money from to clear the arrears? CS. Honorable Chair.
I think just to add on what you have said, this audit was done in 2024. Now, I want to find out from you whether after a query, 2025, how much have you sent to NAPSA? How much have you sent to NAPSA? Imagine it's you who have retired, and then you go to NAPSA to claim your money, and then you are told 1 year down the line, your money was not remitted to NAPSA. It's not here, but on the person is showing. How do you feel? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, you may respond to those questions.
Yeah, in the first place, Chair, I will feel very bad because this also affects all of us, despite being active in employment currently. But time for us to retire is also coming. So we have to put ourselves in the shoes of those that are already retired, those that have faced the serious challenges of not being paid at the right time. What has been paid so far, I will ask DF to help us indicate how much exactly has gone towards that. I submit, Chair.
Okay, honorable members, the question's been dealt with. Okay, Madam.
Director Finance.
Director Finance.
Thank you, Chair. For NAPSA, the money is being deducted from at the source from the ministry before they disperse the equalization funds. As for our retirees, what we normally do upon retirement, for each retiree, for each individual, we clear what we are owing them. Currently, what we are owing is for those who are still in service and the penalties.
Honorable Chara.
Thank you, Chair. You have not answered my question.
Maybe repeat your question.
It was very specific. It's not about the source. We know that they are deducting money from the source. We know. But the query is not the money which is being deducted from the source. Are you aware of that? That you are not queried for the money that is being deducted from the source. It's the money that you have been deducted from before this arrangement was put in place. You were deducting money from these workers. That's what my question was, how much have you paid? Because this audit was done in 2024. 2025, what measure, have you done anything on arrears? That's what I'm asking you for, not the source, no.
Yes, is the question understood? Okay.
Clear, Chair.
You were audited, and the audit report brought out an issue that we've not been remitting the monies you are deducting from your staff. That is where the question is coming from. So I'm sure now it is very clear. You may respond, sir.
Thank you, Chair. I'll still refer to Director Finance.
Director Finance.
Sure.
Thank you, Chair. From the outstanding obligation towards NAPSA and ZRA, we haven't paid anything towards that.
When do you apply? That now comes back to the question Honorable asked. The source of the money, though the CS already provided an answer that that's when we are going to come up with a payment plan. So now we just want to know the source. Would it be from special grant from the ministry? Because I read somewhere where you have said you've requested for special funds, or you depend on your local generated funds. What would be the source?
Partly, Chair will say, will depend on the locally generated funds. I'm saying so because as we speak, we've now put the motel, which was dormant for a longer period of time. We've partnered with the Javelin Trading Center that are already on the ground, and the lessons have started going on. So from that, I'm sure whatever will come from that source, we should be able to start paying towards the same. I submit, Chair. That is one source that we are eyeing for this period, which we have entered in.
All right. I will take you. Honorable members, any other questions? Honorable Chala.
Thank you, Chair. On Appendix 32, non-maintenance of properties. In your submission, the authority included the maintenance of properties in the 2023 annual budget plan. You have included 2026. The audit still was on 2024. 2025, you didn't see the need. Have you not noticed that if you are not doing maintenance to the government property, it is costly to the government, or it's work as usual? You need to be reminded by the auditor that you have to take care of the government property. Can you clarify? Thank you.
Yes, before you answer that question, I would like to apologize, committee members. I would like to take this committee back to page 2 of their submission, just for clarification. Of course, they withdrew the submission they made that the project was completed in February. Now, just on your management response, I just want you to help this committee understand what you meant. On page 2 of your submission, management response, you said the project had not been completed due to restructuring of the utilization fund. Just explain that part. What has changed? We just want to get an understanding, because you said you couldn't complete because the equalization fund was restructured, I mean. So what did you mean, CS? Acting CS?
Chair, what I meant was that at that time, government stopped the issue of allowing us to use those funds, and instead we are guided to channel those monies towards the payment of allowances for councillors. That is what it means.
Government stopped you from using any money from equalization for capital projects or for infrastructure?
Sorry, Chair, the 25%.
not a 20%.
It's a 20% share.
So government stopped you from using any money from equalization for any other projects like such as this. Is that the understanding of the amendment of the Act, CS, that you no longer use any money, any portion of money from equalization fund for any other activities?
No, Chair.
What is your understanding, sir?
Since Mr. Piri is here, I will ask him, Chair, to add more meat to the same.
Outgoing CS, why was that clause amended? The 20% equalization fund for capital projects. Why was it amended by this committee? Parliament through this committee, why was it amended?
Thank you very much, Chair. The 20% was amended by Parliament through this committee.
Mm-hmm.
To ensure that the funds were channeled towards the projects.
I don't know. Honorable Chala.
Thank you, Chair. But the outgoing, not outgoing, it's you now, the council, you, council secretary. Yes, you don't know how do you use this 20%? How do you use it as at now? After removing that caveat or restrictions, how would you use it? Thank you, Chair.
Okay, anyway, this is it appears that it is a misunderstanding by, okay, not a misunderstanding. They know, but they have deliberately ignored the fact why the act was amended. Initially, you were compelled. You were compelled to apply the 20% to capital projects to enable you expand the revenue base. If you want to, you would have invested in a guest house, invested in housing units. That was to enable you to do that. But now, along the way, a lot of you councils were complaining that you have been restricted only to use 20%. Would rather use more of the money from localization fund beyond 20%. So what government did, they proposed an amendment which went through Parliament. So as we speak, there is no caveat. You've been given what we can call a blank check. If you want, you can use all of it for infrastructure development. So now you have the freedom to decide without being restricted to 80% and 20%. So what that amendment sought to achieve was to give you leeway to apply and use the money in the manner you see it fit without being restricted in any way at all. Okay? That is why we removed the 20% so that you make decisions. So all these submissions indicate to the community that there is a bit of not appreciating why the law was amended. So you can go and respond to Honorable Chala's question, then we go to Honorable Samakai as we wind down. There was a question from Honorable Chala. I don't know if you noted it down.
Yes, Chair. It was to do with the rehabilitation of council properties.
Yes, rehabilitation
of... We'll request the Director Engineering to respond to that.
Director, maintenance of government property. I think it's appendix 9, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it appendix? Appendix 32. Maintenance of property. Director.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the auditor's findings were well noted and were on point, Chair. We couldn't maintain some of the properties during the period under review due to inadequate funds here.
So what is the way forward?
The way forward as engineering department is we've continued requesting that whenever funds are available, especially that the principal officer has alluded to the measures that we have put up to boost on our revenue. We are sure this will help us to maintain the 4 houses that we have.
Honorable Samakai, you have a follow-up question? Okay. Yeah. Honorable Samakai.
Thank you very much, Chair.
A different question?
A different question.
Honorable, is this your question different from? Okay, just let's conclude then.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Your response, in your submission here, you said maintenance. You have included maintenance of properties in the 2026 annual budget. What I expected from you is we are going to follow our budget. Because if you talk of when money is available, you will not do it. But if you follow your budget, you will be saying, okay, let's get 50,000 from whatever we have collected, because it's in your budget. That's what I expect you to say. Thank you, Chair.
All right, then you can come and deal with the comment on Honorable's question. First, we get another question from Honorable Samakai.
Thank you very much, Chair. I request that the Council Secretary and the Director of Finance use their pens on this question. Yeah. My question is that in 2024, your budget, which you have given here on local revenues, was 1.3 million. And you only managed to get 782,000, which is 60% of the budget. Now, the staff obligation of 1.162 plus statutory obligation of 4.619 totals up to 5.781. And your total collection for over your indebtedness is coming to 13% of your current debt. I hope you are following. I want to know how much your strategies you are putting in place in order to boost your revenues, and you've given us the motel. What additional revenues is that, so that we can see if it is able to level up your revenue collections to your level of indebtedness. In other words, is what you have hoped to bring in as a result of the strategies that you put in place enough to enable you pay this outstanding debt of 5.7 million? Thank you, Chair.
CS.
Thank you, Chair. Let me start by responding to the last question. What we'll get from the skill center may not offset the debts that we have, but we need to also come up with other sources of revenue, which I'm sure DF will talk about. I submit, Chair.
DF, Director Finance.
Thank you, Chair. For now, the strategy is to work on our current revenue properties we have, and since we don't have a lot of income to venture on new strategies, for now we can work on the Montel. Then we have planned to rehabilitate at least one house per quarter. Then for under the previous year, we had built a 1x2 council shop to add on to other 2 council shops we have, which we are renting out. Then we are still to work on the council chalet as we accumulate more funds so that we can at least have more funds to feed in our local revenue to work on other ventures as well.
Honorable Samakai.
Chair, we're talking about finance here. We're not talking about stories. We're talking about figures. So the question I asked was, how much are you going to get from the motel when it is operational? You're going to rent it out, yes. What are the rentals you are going to get from the motel? And even the houses and the shop, you tell us how much you hope to get once they are finished, so that we are clear as to what your measures are bringing in to boost your revenue. We want figures, not stories.
CS. Thank you, Chair. So for the Montel, in the agreement that we have signed with the Javulani, I have with me here the Memorandum of Understanding, which has the figures. And the revenue that will be generated would be dependent on the number of students that will be enrolled in a particular course. For example, I'll give an example. This year already, before we left the station, 33 students had already arrived. So from each student, we've agreed with Javelin that as a local authority, we'll be getting 1,500 for each student that is per term, per course, because those courses are run within 3 months.
For which school?
Jabulani Training Center.
Okay.
Yes, which we are doing currently. The students are already there. So for this particular term or this particular course, which is already on course, we are expecting 33 by 1,500. That is the revenue we'll get. The first 3 months.
33,000 kwacha per 3 months, that is 11. Honorable Samakai, your mic, CS.
Oh, please.
Acting CS, don't start giving us figures that we should be multiplying. We want you to multiply and give us clear figures. Yeah. We're not in a class where you should be saying, oh, if you want a figure, then you can multiply 11, 2 times 2, then you get the answer yourselves. That's what you are doing.
Okay, CS, let's just deal with this matter in this way. What is your projected revenue basket for 2026, for example? Where everything put together, all the revenue sources locally put together, how much do you project to realize? Just one figure, because you've already done your budget, isn't it? Though it is not approved yet, we are told. Yeah? Okay. In that budget, you've made projections of your income, your revenue, from all the sources of revenue in CHILUBI district, locally. So what is your projection? The reason the honorable member is asking, because he has looked at your indebtedness. Okay. So now with the strategies we have put in place. Of course, I'm sure you've already put strategies and you put more strategies, but for now, what is it that you can report to this committee as your projected revenue for the financial year 2026? To make it simpler.
Thank you, Chair. I'll ask DF to give us those figures.
Director of Finance, do you have figures off cuff at your fingertips?
Thank you, Chair. For local revenue, projected is 1.5.
Okay. Honorable Samakai, 1.5. Thank you. Any other questions? Honorable members? Honorable members attending the meeting virtually, any questions from you? Okay, maybe just the last question on page 1. Failure to implement planned activities. According to the auditor, the maintenance of the same guest house we are talking about was planned in that particular year. It was planned to be rehabilitated. Why it became a query, when they visited you, they found it had not already been renovated. Now, the CS, in your response, you are saying the reason it is because we didn't receive money from devolved funds, because the project did not qualify. Let me just read your answer so that I don't misrepresent you. Okay? We wish to state the project did not meet the Zambia Devolution Support Program criteria for project selection. Okay? Therefore, the money did not come, isn't it? That is the situation, isn't it? So now, you planned to do this activity and approved it before you received the money, before you were sure whether the money will come or not. Yes.
Yes, Chair, I'll ask Mr. Piri to respond to that.
Mr. Piri, this project was planned for and approved. So you may respond, sir.
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. We did plan for this activity, anticipating that ZDC, Zambia Devolution Support, will send us money. Unfortunately, they delayed sending the money, Chair.
Did they send the money later? Yes.
I'll ask my DF to respond. Thank you.
Now you are giving us another answer. The response was that you did not qualify for that fund. That was the implication of what the acting CS said. You did not qualify for the fund, therefore the fund did not come. And then the outgoing CS is saying the money delayed to come. So which is which? Did you receive the money or not?
Chair, I'll
Honorable Samakai.
Dave.
Just intervene with a question. The one who's acting here, Mr.
Kafumbwe.
Mr. Kafumbwe.
Yes,
Mr. Kafumbwe, how long have you been at CHILUBI Council?
This is my second month.
Oh, this is your second month?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no wonder. Okay, I want. Okay.
Sins forgiven before they are committed. Yes, DF.
Thank you, Chair. The project for the Council Montel didn't qualify under the criteria for Zambia Devolution. We did receive the funds, so it meant that the council had to mobilize funds to fund the project. But however, we couldn't because we are dependent on the grant.
I mean, you are going away from the question.
Okay.
Did you receive the money or not?
we did receive the money, but the project didn't qualify.
You received the money less what should have gone to the maintenance of the motel.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, madam. So you received money less what should have gone to the motel. That's why you received 2.694, isn't it? Okay, thank you. So now we come to the end of our deliberation, but before we do that, I would like to bring to your attention some governance and financial weaknesses that when you get back to your station, you really need to look at them so that your books are clean and so that your existence as CHILUBI Town Council is felt by the people. The reason you are there is to ensure that the delivery services is prioritized. Our people receive the much needed services. So there is delayed completion of projects. You need to do realistic projections, okay? And also you improve on your revenue base. The revenue base is very critical for you to improve on service delivery, to have everything put in place. You need to expand your revenue base. The building of 2 more shops and the lodge may not be enough, okay? Looking at the location of the area, the rentals may not be as sustainable as you may think, okay? And then you also need to ensure that when you receive assets in whatever form, you need to ensure that you manage them properly and you put documentation in place, okay? So our advice is for you to strengthen your internal controls, improve revenue mobilization, like I said, and ensure that you are compliant to all the statutory obligations that you are supposed to be managing. Okay, so now, before we conclude, I just want to invite you to say if you have any closing remarks.
Chair, on behalf of my team, I would like to thank you and all the honorable members for their positive guidance which they gave. And also on our side, I think what we need to do is to work on the concerns that you have raised in this meeting, so that as we go back, we'll work on those and we ensure that these queries are not raised again or picked as auditors come to audit our books of our accounts. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you so very much. Do we have an internal auditor?
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, so sir, as your responsibility to ensure that before auditors visit your station, you will have already cleared some of these issues. That is your job, is not to wait for the external auditors to come and flag off these issues. So at this point, CS and your team, we have come to the end of our meeting, and I therefore withdraw the immunity that was granted to you. We wish you safe travel to CHILUBI.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Here is an announcement. The National Assembly of Zambia wishes to inform all